All right, y'all. So let's tie everything together and just go over some things on how it's all tied together. So with all the numbers that we plugged in so far, we have our acquisition metrics, we have our rent numbers, we have our other income, we have the equity split with the investors, we have our current income, we have our projected income, we have our current expenses, projected expenses. We have everything in here. So let's see what our executive summary looks like. This is where you can see how much capital you have to raise to actually close the deal. This takes into consideration all of these numbers here, the down payment, your portion of the CapEx budget, which in this particular project, everything's been renovated. So we're assuming zero CapEx, the EMD, the acquisition fee, closing costs, your cash reserves, and everything. So from that, we need to raise $412,813. We have $34,000 in the bank once we close. We have to pay out the acquisition fee. We have to reimburse whoever put the earnest money up. So we'll have $12,000 in our bank operating account after we pay out those fees. So let's look at our exit strategy at this point. So we're going to sell it in year 3 because remember, under inputs, we're not in it for low enough to refinance. We're in it for 92%. So on our exit strategy, our refinance is 0 right here. We'll come back to this tab in another module. Right now, with this particular asset, we're just looking to sell it in 3 years. And you can see we're really not going to make any money because we can't get the valuation high enough. We're all in it for, we pay back the loan, we pay back the investors, and we only make $50,000 profit over the course of 3 years. So very low returns for the investors on this with the numbers that we plugged in. If we can increase the rents, if we can reduce the purchase price, if we can reduce the expenses, if we can increase the NOI, we can improve the rate of return for the investors. Now let's look at the cash flow, month 1 through 24. With the numbers that we plugged in, this is how the sheet works. We start in month 1, right? This is how much the property is generating income right now. Remember, let's go back to our inputs, right? So current annual T12, 96,000. So, $8,000 a month minus vacancy, minus concessions. That gives us our gross effective income. We have our operational expenses right here, not the current owners, not the seller's expenses, our expenses. So when we calculated that, we have $3,800 in our expenses that we're going to be paying on the property. We don't have any renovation because the property's been renovated. We have our loan. We have our debt service right here. We don't have any owner financing. So here's what the actual cash flow looks like on this property. Right out of the gate, we're in the hole $1,400. The rent steadily climbs because our plan is to bump rents over the course of 12 months. So kind of the assumption is each month, one unit is going to turn and go to market rent. And you can see our gross collected income goes up by a couple $100 every month. So it takes us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It takes us 5 months to get out of the red and into the black. So in this example, there is not enough money. You can see we're negative $1,400. So there's not enough money to pay this member preferred return due of $2,400. It just has to stack up and accrue. And we'll talk more about this section in another module. Right now, let's focus on cash flow after operation expenses and after debt service. It's in the negative up until month 5. So we're going to be using that $12,000 bank account after fees paid. We're going to be using that $12,000 to survive this. If I add all these up, select all right here, you can see right here down the bottom right-hand corner, we need $4,100 in our bank account to survive this red ink until the property starts paying its own way in month 6. So you can see how the various inputs feed into the executive summary here for how much cash you have to raise, feeds into the exit strategy. The inputs feed into the exit strategy for our net operating income in year 3, the cap rate in year 3, what we're going to sell it for, and how all those numbers feed into month 1 through 24 cash flow.